So I don't feel the same way that I felt about 9 to 5 jobs. I feel different than the way that I felt when I left my job 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. And when I was there, I felt like I was losing my mind. I felt like I had everything against 9 to 5s. I had everything against working a job. You know what I mean? I blamed, the job for everything, the 9 to 5, the hours, what I had to go through to make money to get a check every 2 weeks, the amount of hours I had to work, how I felt when I was there. Everything was on the 9 to 5. And it later grew into me feeling like it was slave work. Working a 9 to 5 is modern day slavery. I've made videos about it, and that was the mentality. That's how I felt. That's the way that I felt about jobs, 9 to 5 jobs. You don't get to see your family so much. You got to sacrifice so much for so little. And today, I don't feel that way. I think what happened to me, what I was experiencing, is what I ultimately brought on myself. You have to take control of your future. You have to do the things that you need to do in order to be able to have the leverage, have full control of what your future looks like, of what your experiences will be. And I did none of that. I bullshitted through school. I cut school. I hung out with the cool kids. I did cool kid shit. And I didn't prioritize the things that I should have prioritized, that would have afforded me to pick or choose the future that I wanted. You know what I mean? The life that I wanted, the job, the career that I wanted. Whether it was a dream job, a career, playing football, being a doctor, being a lawyer. Like, I didn't do the things that I needed to do at a younger age in order to set myself up, the right way. And like I tell my son, and like I told him plenty of times, it's never too early to get ready. It's never too early to prepare. Because one thing you don't want is for somebody to choose for you, or to, make those decisions for you. You want to make those decisions so that no one else can make them for you. So you won't feel like you have to take what you can get. You know what I mean? You have to take what's left. You know what I mean? You picking up scraps and crumbs and leftovers and shit that's been picked over and picked through. And I had a real salty taste in my mouth about jobs, you know what I mean? Because true indeed, I was going through a lot of shit, working these dead end jobs. And when I finally got to a place where I was making some real money, I still had no leverage. This was still a job that I had to take. You know what I mean? This wasn't something that I chose because I had options, or, you know what I mean? Like, I was being chosen. It was something that I had to take. It was like one of them things where, you just got to do what you got to do. And most of the times when you don't do what you need to do early on, you have to take what you can get. You know what I mean? And life as a child, as a teenager, it's no excuse. You know, I know people that had worse upbringings than me, had less parental guidance than me, grew up fucked up more than I did, you know what I'm saying? And they still made something of themselves. They still used whatever resources they could use to better themselves and grow and evolve. You know what I'm saying? People that grew up just like me, worse than me, and they doing good for themselves. I say all that to say, my thing was, I started to blame the job, the 9 to 5. Fuck 9 to 5s. I'll never work a 9 to 5 again, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Listen, the bottom line is everybody not going to go to the NFL. Everybody not going to the NBA. Everybody not going to be doctors. Everybody not going to be lawyers. Everybody not going to be entertainers, singers, rappers. That's just extremely unrealistic. And I say that to say some of us going to have to work a job, right? What I didn't realize in the moment of me working this particular job for 8 years, most of my unhappiness and my stress and misery and depression, most of that shit came from me working a job that had no meaning. It didn't give me any meaning. It didn't make me feel purposeful. It didn't make me feel meaningful. It didn't give me that. You know, I was working at a warehouse where, and most of us, we have these jobs where it's like, fuck the job, I hate the job, oh my God, blah, blah, this, that, and the third. But most of the time, if you really step back, which I didn't do when I was in it, I had no time to step back and reflect about what I was going through and what I was experiencing. I blamed everything on the job. It was the job. I can't see my kids. I can't do this. I can't do that. But again, early on in my life, I didn't do the things that I needed to do. Schooling, all of the things that you need to do, whether it's in the Matrix, you want to consider it the Matrix. I consider it the Matrix. But in this world, in America, you damn near do got to play by their rules. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. You could go against the grain, you could rebel, you could buck, you could do all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's not fortunate enough to find independence, find entrepreneurship, you know what I mean? Or be successful. Like I said about the other shit, everybody's not going to be their own boss. Everybody can't be their own boss. Everybody's not going to be independent. Everybody's not going to be able to not work a job. Where I just realized today in this moment why I hated 9 to 5s and resented them so much is because I didn't have any, it was no purpose, it was no meaning in what I was doing. I was literally going to work every day, loading bear, unloading bear, picking bear, delivering bear, stocking bear. You know what I'm saying? Every day was the same. And I had explained this to this lady that was doing my psych evaluation, and she was asking me like, well, what made you want to be a corrections officer? And that's very different and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, one of the things that stuck out to me the most was there's so many different avenues. There's so much I could get into. There's so many different hats I can wear, so many different things, so many different endeavors and things that I can get into, and in order to find my thing, you know what I'm saying? Whatever that may be. And that intrigued me. That attracted me. Not the prisoners. I'm not intimidated. I'm not scared of that. I grew up around wolves and lions and tigers and bears and goons and sharks and killers and all of that. It's not the inmates. It's not being around a bunch of men. I wasn't thinking twice about that. What intrigued me was exactly what I said. And also what was the cherry on top and the icing on the cake was no 2 days are alike. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's spontaneous, whether it's this, whether it's that, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? And it just hit me like, yo, that was my whole thing. And that's most people's whole thing, is like where the misery set in at, where the depression set in at, where the disgruntledness, where the unhappiness set in at, is you're going somewhere every day that you don't want to. You're going somewhere every day that you don't want to go to. You're somewhere every day that you don't want to be. You hate it. It's repetitive. You know what you're getting into. You know what your days, your weeks, you know what that's going to be like every day. And that is enough to fucking drive you crazy, stress you out. You see so many people fucking 9 to 5. I would never work a 9 to 5 again. I was on that I was on that bandwagon. I was on that same shit. I was on that same path, that same everything. Fucking 9 to 5, bro. This slave work. They da 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 da. And it's like, in a sense, I understand that way of thinking, and I understand that way of feeling too. But you got to ask yourself, what did you do to get here? Did you give it everything? Did you do everything possible for you not to end up here with these dead end jobs, with these repetitive jobs? You listen, this is why I tell my son, you no longer have leverage. Once you let life pass you by and you fuck around and you party and you bullshit, I know, listen, we don't want to work for nobody. We want to be our own boss. We want to make our own schedule. We want to get out of bed when we want. But realistically, in America, while we here, bro, and I was rebelling, I was bucking, fuck the system, fuck this, it's rigged, and it still is. But I also had to realize, like, I got kids out here, I got to make a living. I ain't worked in 16 months, 17 months. You feel what I'm saying? I bucked. You feel me? I'm one of the ones. I said, fuck it. I'm rock out. And I rocked out, stood on my 10. But I had to realize it just set in. I just got to download the day like, yo, you still got responsibility. You still got to do what you need to do. And you got to make the best of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you still got to get out here and work. Working a job might not be so bad. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I got into where I was blessed. I was blessed. I say that I was blessed to be able to find a career path in corrections and get started with that and go down that path. You know what I'm saying? And then that could be my foot in the door to a world, bro, of just a world of opportunity. You see what I'm saying? But I know what my big thing was. One of my biggest deal breakers was just repetitiveness. I was losing my mind sitting on a forklift making $35, $34 an hour. Yeah, a lot of people say, damn, that's easy money. Or I just do this. I sit behind a desk and I make $100,000 a year. It's no meaning in that. If all you chasing is money, then that's the road to go down. That's the path to go down. But if you want to feel like you're helping people, or you want to feel like what you're doing with your time is meaningful and purposeful, it has meaning and purpose to it, then that's probably not going to be it. And like I said, I gave 9 to 5 such a bad rep, such a bad I just gave it such a, you know what I'm saying, like a bad John, because I was so salty, I was so pissed off at what I had endured, not even realizing and taking accountability. Like, bro, you really got yourself here. That's why I say it's so important. And I tell my son, do what you need to do now, bro. You're never too young. You 13, 14, 15, 16, bro. You gonna be a firefighter? I know a young boy, you know what I mean, that come by way of, you know, some of my relationships. And he made his mind up at like 3 years old, bro, that he was going, you know, be into cars and be an engineer. That he was going to be an engineer or a police officer. And yeah, he this was at 3 years old, and he never swayed. He never lost. He kept his eyes on the prize. He never lost, you know, he never lost track of like what he wanted to do. And like I said, I tell my son, like, bro, it ain't never too early. And the young guy I'm talking about, he going into the police academy. I tell my son, make a plan now, bro. Plan now. It's never too early. It's never too soon. I know you want to hang out with your friends and do this and do that, but you want to be able to be in a position, you want to be able to position yourself to plan your own future, make your own decisions on what you want to do with your life and where you want to work at, career, what you want to do for a living, what you want to do to make money and take care of yourself. You don't want nobody to make those decisions for you. And again, throughout me bullshitting and partying and doing all types of shit as a youngin', I learned I had to allow people to make those decisions for me. I had to take what was given to me. You know what I'm saying? I had to take scraps, bullshit jobs, dead end jobs. I had to pick through the shit that was already picked through. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, bro, we end up somewhere we don't want to be, just letting life pass us by. You could be at the post office, you could be at FedEx, UPS, Amazon. You could be at a beer company like I was, bro. You could be at Walmart, Target, bro. Those are all, and amongst zillions of other jobs, they all dead end jobs. You're just there as, you're just there as an extra body, bro. Extra hands and feet, bro. You know what I mean? Extra pair of eyes and ears, and you know what I'm saying? Like, just manpower, bro. So if you notice, you're never going to be happy in those environments and with those jobs, because it has no meaning. It don't make you feel like you're needed, or that you're doing something purposeful, that you're helping somebody, or, you know, like that's one of the highest acts as a human, helping somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, doing stuff that make you feel like you did something that mattered. That's like one of the highest levels of like being a human. Like I said, humanity, bro. Like, you know, if I'm saying it right, like that's like top tier. So when you go into these jobs and you're not doing none of that, you just picking beer, your head down, you can't talk, you got your AirPod in, you just fucking working like a fucking robot. You ain't feeding your soul, bro. You're not really getting nothing. You know what I'm saying? You're not receiving nothing. You know what I'm saying? You empty. And that's why people be miserable, stressed out, and they be hating their lives, they be hating their jobs and shit. But there was a download I got, bro. I just had to talk about that shit. Like, yo, 9 to 5s ain't bad, bro. All that shit is really what you make it. Just like life, all that shit is what you make it, bro. But you want to have the leverage. You want to be able to make the decisions for yourself. And like I said, not have nobody make them for you. And I don't feel the same way I felt a couple months ago about 9 to 5s, bro. They are what they are. They're here. And look, just like everything else, everybody not going to make it out. Everybody not going to be a ball player. Everybody not going to be a rapper, singer. Everybody not going to be a content creator. Everybody not going to blow up on YouTube. Everybody can't go. Everybody is not going to succeed, unfortunately. We will want everybody to win, everybody to be able to take care of their families and change their family life. But realistically, bro, everybody just ain't going to make it. And realizing that jobs are here for who they're here for. You know what I'm saying? Some people gonna bullshit through life, and those are the type of jobs, janitorial or working at a dead end gig. It's these slots and these vacancies at these companies and these corporations and these jobs. They're for somebody. It's people out here that's not doing nothing and don't want nothing more out of life. You know what I'm saying? Or ain't strivers or ain't go-getters. So these slots and these vacancies at these companies, not just McDonald's and Burger King, Walmart is a dead-end job. Target is a dead-end job. Where I was working at making $35 an hour, bro. Everybody throw bad names on McDonald's and Burger King and Checkers, and bro, you could be making $35 an hour and be at a dead-end job. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's more than just what you thinking, like, oh, it's no room to grow. Yeah, but I've reached capacity. I was making the top rate. And with making all that money, I still felt like I was at a dead-end job. I didn't feel alive. It has way more meaning than just what people think a dead-end job is, bro. Do you feel alive at your job? Do you feel needed? Do you feel like you're making a difference? Do you feel like you know, pushing the goalpost, pushing the needle, you're not pushing the envelope? Do you feel like any of that when you at your job? Your job where you make $100,000, $200,000 a year? No, you probably sitting at a desk miserable, scrolling and shit and doing paperwork and on your laptop. You know what I'm saying? So dead end jobs come in all forms and fashions and shapes and size. Like, so, you know, it just hit me like, bro, it ain't jobs, bro. It ain't the 9 to 5 fault, bro. It's your fault. 9 times out of 10, it wasn't the 9 to 5. It was my fault. I ended up here. I lost my leverage. You know what I'm saying? And bullshit and not taking shit serious and trying to shape my future or do things to set up my future. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like that shit is really that's why it is the way it is with the 9 to 5 shit. You know what I mean? Lawyers, doctors, police officers, firefighters, bro, they feel like they have a purpose. They have a fucking they have a obligation. You know what I'm saying? They feel wanted and needed, and like I said, they have that validation of it feeling meaningful and purposeful. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is. You want to be doing something where you are helping, or you are changing a narrative. You are, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's about, bro. And those 9 to 5, those types of 9 to 5s, those career paths, you can't get tired of that, bro. It might not even feel like work to you. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, and so that's what it is. Like, a lot of these companies, bro, you just feel like you just there, and you are, and you're just wasting your life away for a paycheck. And that shit, yeah. So it's a fine line. I had it fucked up. Like, when I was where I was at, I was just like, man, all jobs like this, yo, we gotta get out, bro. We gotta rebel. We gotta buck the system. 9 times out of 10, if you feeling like that, bro, you at a dead end job, bro. Your job don't give you no purpose and no fucking meaning. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is. Like, simply put, as opposed to you being somewhere where you feel, like I said, lawyers, doctors, they feel like they helping. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is a business and they doing certain shit, they probably really take their practice serious. Being a lawyer, being a doctor, like I said, being a police officer, firefighter, you know, feeling meaning behind it, feeling purpose behind it, getting out your bed every day to feel like, yo, I'm going to go save the world, I'm going to go change the world, as opposed to going to a warehouse job where I was at, picking beer all day every day, bro. That shit was bullshit. I don't give a fuck how much money they pay you, bro. I was unhappy as fuck. I was miserable. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think I had got the 9-to-5 shit kind of fucked up. You know, I fucked that when I kind of, you know, and listen, I admit when I'm wrong. 9-to-5s ain't as bad as I made it seem, bro. And I mean, everybody got their opinions and shit, but like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you feeling like that, you somewhere where you can't grow. You know what I'm saying? You can't blossom. You know what I'm saying? Like environment is everything. You know what I'm saying? Like even for a flower, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever, a plant. You know what I'm saying? Vegetable, fruit. You know what I mean? Whatever you plant, environment is everything. You know what I'm saying? You can get the sun, you can water that motherfucker, and 9 times out of 10, bro, you might be in an environment where you can't grow, you can't thrive, you can't go to the next level. You're not living out your potential. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, even me, like I said, going into corrections, a lot of people might be scared. Oh my God, you gonna do that? You gonna do this? You gonna do that? I ain't worrying about that. That ain't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course you gotta protect yourself. You gotta be on your toes, but I ain't tripping about that. I done came up around that. I'm a product of that. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, you know, but I came up around straight sharks, wolves. Like, you feel me? I'm more so with, like I said, with attracted me and intrigued me, and stood out to me was so many avenues, so many different ways to grow. You know what I'm saying? I grew to the top of the warehouse in the beer shit, but I was still doing the same shit, and I was gonna be doing that same fucking job for the rest of my life. That had no meaning and no purpose behind it. Ain't no fucking meaning and purpose behind no fucking picking beer and putting beer on a pallet and loading it on a fucking trailer or a lift gate to go out to get delivered to a bar or deli or a supermarket. Doing that shit for the rest of my fucking life, nigga. I might be in a prison as a fucking counselor, a corrections counselor, helping somebody transition back into society. You know what I'm saying? And different cases and getting into the minds of, you know, of people and you know what I'm saying? Helping. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much shit you could get into, bro. I don't want to be in an environment where I feel like I'm getting easy money and I'm not doing nothing and I'm just doing the same shit every day. I watched them niggas, bro. Them niggas was dead already, bro. They didn't even realize it. The niggas I work next to and work around every day, they was dead already, bro. Them niggas was dead. They was already gone. They had already like transitioned, bro. Them niggas be on autopilot. Them type of niggas in them environments and them work environments, them warehouses, them niggas be gone. First 4 or 5 years, you be gone. I was trying to keep my sanity after year 5, going into 6 and 7 and 8. I was fighting for light, fighting for, you know, my peace of mind and just trying to hold on to the little bit of shit I had left. Working in that shit every day, you will lose your fucking mind. And then you look around you and everybody else lost theirs too. And niggas start talking, saying the same shit every day. Niggas forget what day it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Niggas like don't see their kids. Don't remember the last time they had a good time outside of living in a bottle. Like, that shit crazy, bro. So I was already with niggas that was already dead, bro. Them niggas was on fucking death row. Like, them niggas was on a life block. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even working in no prison at that time. So it's all what you make it, bro. But the most important thing I could think of is start young, bro. If you a young nigga seeing this shit, you 18, bro, stop whatever you doing, bro, and lock in. You know what I'm saying? Because if you in the streets and all that shit ain't gonna last. You not gonna make it. That successful street nigga shit is like point 0.000000000001 type shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit, you got a better chance of going to the league, playing football, playing soccer, hockey, being a rapper. You know what I mean? So step away, reevaluate, peep the floor. You know what I'm saying? Write some shit down, some goals, aspirations, some shit. The craziest shit in the world don't even matter, bro. If it's a dream of yours, go after that. You better off doing that now. You know what I'm saying? So it don't come a time where a motherfucker gonna make the decision for you, bro. You don't want a nigga to make the decision for you. I be watching these little documentaries, gearing up for my little corrections journey, bro. And I'm seeing niggas in jail and prison. Like, we complain and rightfully so. It's hard out here and it's hard to make a living. But there's niggas in that joint making 20 cents, 11 cents an hour, 6 cents an hour, top rate 46 cents an hour. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, it's diabolical. You know what I mean? And And I can compare that because they didn't prepare themselves. And like I said, we can blame it on circumstances. I've been around people that was poorer than me, bro, and they made it out. They made a living. Them niggas is making 6 figures. They is successful, and they came up in the street north, the same North Philly streets I did. You see what I'm saying? And they made it out. So it's no excuse, you know what I mean? And everybody got the same 24 and the same opportunities for the most part to make the right or wrong decision. And it is comparable because a lot of niggas that's in prison doing life for 20, 30 years or 15 to 30s and 20 to 40s all this fucking time, them niggas had the opportunity to make the right decision. They just made the wrong one. You see what I'm saying? And that goes back to what I'm saying. Make the right decision. Make plan your life, plan your future. You know what I'm saying? Have control, 100% control over what you want to do with your life, because somebody else will do it for you. And it's no different from having dead-end jobs or having to take what somebody give you instead of going into it with leverage and being able to choose what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real important. It's real important. And here I was complaining and bitching and moaning about a fucking job that I hated and all this other shit, but I got myself there. You know what I'm saying? I put the GPS on and arrived there. Yeah, I put myself there. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't that, bro. It's like most of the time you just ain't doing something that has a meaning or a purpose to it. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing in it. It has nothing. It's empty. You know what I'm saying? It has no type of substance, no nothing to it. You know what I mean? And most of the time that's what these jobs is, bro. You just there to keep up with the performance, keep up with production, and keep them getting money and shit like that. But I think like I said, everybody not gonna make it, but I think that's the most important thing, bro. That'll change a lot. That'll change the dynamic of things, bro. Real shit. Like that really will. Like if people start doing shit that means something to them, a passion, you know what I mean? Like that shit'll change all this shit. Niggas won't be out here just taking any old job, bro. They would have to change the landscape of things because people will really be interested in doing things that's interesting. You know what I mean? That gives them that feeling, as opposed to just taking any and everything. You know what I mean? I feel like that's why shit is just how it is. You know what I mean? And the people suffering for people mental health is suffering. You know what I mean? From everything that I'm saying. But